returned my son's birthday present, and I've never been prouder of myself. My son Cody turned 13 last month, and there was only one thing he'd wanted for 2 straight years: the limited edition gaming console that sold out the day it launched. I fixed tires for a living, and I'd picked up Saturday shifts since spring just to afford it. $399, almost a full week of pay. I wrapped it myself the night before his party, and I genuinely couldn't wait to see his face. What I didn't know was that the kid opening that box wasn't really my son anymore. Somewhere around 6th grade, Cody had latched onto a kid named Brett, whose family had a boat and a house with a gate. Ever since, Cody had been quietly ashamed of our apartment, my grease-stained uniform, the dent in the door of our 15-year-old car. He'd stopped inviting his oldest friend Eli around, a quiet kid from our old neighborhood who'd been at his side since they were 6. Eli's kind of embarrassing now, Cody told me once. I should have said something then. I didn't. The party was 8 kids in our living room, mostly Brett's crowd. I'd saved the console for last. Cody tore the paper, saw the box, and his face did something I'll never forget. It fell. "This is the old model," he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Brett got the new one back in October." Brett smirked from the couch. Then Eli, who'd ridden his bike 3 miles in the cold to be there, stepped forward and held out a small wrapped package. Cody looked at it, then glanced at Brett and said, "Just leave it on the table, man. You didn't have to bring me your thrift store stuff." The whole room laughed. Eli set the gift down on the edge of the table, mumbled that he had to get home, and walked out the door. Nobody stopped him. I almost did, but I froze. That night I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I told Cody I was taking the console back to the store. He didn't even look up from his phone. Good, get the money instead. So I drove over with the box riding on my passenger seat and got in the return line. That's when I saw Eli, 3 people ahead of me, holding a clear plastic bag of bottles and cans up at the customer service counter. He didn't see me. I watched the clerk count them out, one by one, $4 and some change. Eli folded the bills carefully and tucked them down into his shoe. I stepped out of line and walked over. "Eli, you okay, buddy?" He went red to his ears. "Oh, hi. Yeah, I'm fine." I asked what the money was for, and he hesitated a long moment, then said, "I still owe my mom for Cody's gift. I bagged groceries all month to pay for it." I know he didn't really want it, but Cody was my first friend when we moved here, so he shrugged like it was nothing. I asked him what the gift had been. "Just a keychain. It's the little controller from the game me and him used to play when we were 6. They stopped making it years ago. I found one at a flea market and saved up." I stood there holding a $400 console while a kid who'd just been humiliated in front of an entire room counted out bottle deposits to pay off a $2 keychain for the boy who humiliated him. I made my decision right there. "I'm not returning this," I said, and held the box out to him. "I want you to have it." His eyes went huge. "No, sir, I can't. That's Cody's." I told him it wasn't anymore. I told him a gift goes to whoever actually deserves it, and that I'd never been prouder to hand something to anyone in my whole life. He started crying right there in the customer service line, hugging the box to his chest like it might vanish if he let go. I called Cody from the parking lot and told him exactly what I'd done and exactly why. He started to argue, so I cut him off. "Eli bagged groceries for a month to buy you a keychain after you stood there and called him embarrassing. You spent 2 years embarrassed of the people who'd actually show up for you. The console is his now." The line went dead silent. By Monday, the whole school already knew. Brett's crowd, the same kids Cody had thrown Eli away to impress, thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever heard, and they made absolutely sure everyone else heard it too. They weren't laughing with Cody. They never had been. Eli, meanwhile, had half of 7th grade asking to come to his place to play the console Cody had called the old model. And Cody finally understood that he'd traded the one kid who showed up on a bike in the cold for a couch full of people who were only ever laughing at him.